The frigid world of Korvalis. Korvalis IV wasn't the kind of place where humans thrived. The ice-covered planet was home to ferocious storms, razor-sharp winds, and temperatures that could freeze steel. But where humanity faltered, the Thal'Shara excelled. This advanced, alien species had evolved to endure the unrelenting cold with their natural exoskeletal armor and an internal biothermal core. Jack Carter, an ex-soldier turned intergalactic scavenger, found himself on this forsaken planet. He wasn't here for adventure. The paycheck for salvaging old tech from abandoned Thal'Shara outposts was lucrative enough to ignore the frostbite creeping into his bones. As he knelt in the snow, tinkering with an ancient communication console, the faint sound of clicking echoed behind him, a sound he knew all too well. Thal'Shara. Jack turned to see her. 7 feet tall, with a lithe frame clad in crystalline armor that shimmered like frost, she was imposing yet eerily beautiful. Her large, slanted eyes glowed faintly, her mandibles twitching as she spoke in the common interstellar tongue. "Human," she said, her voice a strange mix of guttural clicks and melodic tones. "I do not wish to fight. I need your warmth, a desperate alliance." Jack's hand instinctively went to the plasma pistol at his hip. "Yeah, that's not a line I hear every day." "What do you mean by warmth?" The alien took a cautious step closer, her movements fluid yet hesitant. "The cold is spreading inside me. My biocore falters. Without external warmth, I will perish." Jack raised an eyebrow. "You're telling me an apex predator of ice worlds is asking for a cuddle?" She hissed, a sound Jack couldn't quite tell was annoyance or desperation. "Your body emits sufficient heat. If I do not borrow it, I will not survive." Jack considered his options. The Thal'Shara weren't known for charity. If one was begging for help, the situation had to be dire. On the other hand, lowering his guard around a predator wasn't exactly in his survival guide. "All right," he said finally, holstering his pistol. "But if you eat me, I swear I'll haunt you." The alien tilted her head in confusion at the idiom, but didn't argue. Close contact. Jack built a small shelter in the lee of a snowdrift, using thermal panels from his salvaged gear. The Thal'Shara crouched near him, her towering frame awkwardly bent to fit in the cramped space. "How's this going to work?" Jack asked, crossing his arms. "Do I sit next to you? Or what?" Her glowing eyes softened slightly. "Proximity is insufficient. Physical contact is required." Jack groaned. "Great. Well, here goes nothing." He removed his jacket and moved closer. Her exoskeleton was cold and smooth, but as he pressed against her, a faint warmth began to radiate through her armor. Her mandibles clicked softly, almost like a purr. "This is sufficient," she murmured. Jack smirked. "Glad I could be of service." The Huntress truth. Over the hours that followed, they talked, partly to pass the time, and partly because Jack was trying to distract himself from the awkwardness of the situation. He learned her name was Vy'kala, a Thal'Shara Huntress exiled from her clan. Her biocore had been damaged during a skirmish with rival hunters, and without it, she was doomed to a slow death on the ice. "Why'd they leave you behind?" Jack asked. "The weak are discarded," Vy'kala replied bitterly. "It is our way." Jack shook his head. "That's a hell of a way to treat your own. And your kind does not," she countered, her glowing eyes boring into his. Jack hesitated. She wasn't wrong. Humanity's history was rife with examples of the strong abandoning the weak. "Fair point," he admitted. "But I'm not like that." Her mandibles twitched in what Jack could only interpret as a smile. "No, you are not." The ice horde. Their uneasy truce was shattered when Vy'kala's head snapped up, her mandibles flaring. "They're coming." Jack followed her gaze to the stormy horizon, where dark, insectoid shapes began to emerge. "Friends of yours?" "No," she said, her tone grim. Rogues. They hunt all, human and Thal'Shara alike. Jack grabbed his plasma pistol. Guess we're in this together. The rogues swarmed in, their shrieks piercing the icy winds. Vy'kala moved with terrifying grace, her claws slashing through their ranks while Jack provided covering fire. Despite their differences, they fought as a seamless team, their survival instincts aligning perfectly. When the last rogue fell, Jack turned to Vy'kala, panting. You fight like a demon, and you fight like a fool, she retorted, though there was a glint of admiration in her eyes. A new bond. As dawn broke over the frozen wasteland, Jack and Vy'kala trudged through the snow together. Their temporary alliance had blossomed into something resembling trust. I owe you my life, Vy'kala said quietly. Call it even, Jack replied. I wouldn't have made it without you either. She stopped and looked at him, her glowing eyes filled with something Jack couldn't quite place. I crave more than your warmth, human. I crave understanding. Jack blinked, taken aback. Well, one step at a time, huh? Vy'kala let out a soft, clicking laugh, a sound that was oddly comforting. Together, they ventured into the unknown, two unlikely allies bound by necessity, and perhaps something more.